The golf ball rollback is coming, and you're probably asking a whole lot of questions about what this means for you and your game. I'm Ryan Ballinger with Golf News Net, and hopefully I can answer some of those questions in this video today. So, golf ball rollback, it's happening. Golf Digest reported that next week the USGA and the R&A are set to announce a golf ball rollback that's not only going to affect professionals, but amateur players as well. That rollout is going to be staggered. The amateurs will be affected starting in 2030. Professionals and high-level amateurs will start getting impacted in 2028. So it's about to be 2024. You have 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027 until this impacts you if you're a professional golfer, and you get 2 additional years if you're a recreational player. But what actually happens here, and what does this mean for you? So what's about to happen is the USGA and the R&A are about to change the equipment standard by which they test the maximum distance that golf balls can fly. Under the current rules, and they've been the same for a number of years now, a golf ball can only go 317 yards in testing, plus 3 yards of tolerance, so a total of 320 yards. And in that testing, the USGA and the R&A do on every single golf ball that hits the market that's conforming, what they need to test is how far the golf ball flies when it's struck with a swing speed with the driver of 120 miles per hour. Now you might say, that seems kind of crazy. Most people don't swing 120 miles per hour. And that's true. Very few people do. However, an increasing number of professional golfers swing 120 miles per hour with their driver. So that's the testing standard that they have set up to determine how far a golf ball can fly at the maximum. So what they're going to change is not the distance standard itself. Instead, they're going to change the testing standard. So instead of testing with a driver swinging 120 miles per hour, they're going to change it to 125 miles per hour, which will keep the same distance, but the testing swing speed will be higher, which means you're going to lose approximately 15 yards with the driver if you are a player at that kind of level of swing speed. So if you hit the ball about 300 yards, you're going to lose about 5% of your distance. So you're going to lose about 15 yards in total. But it'll be probably pretty close to proportional. So if you hit it, let's say 200 yards off the tee, you're going to lose 10 yards. If you hit it 250, you do the math, 12 and a half yards off the tee. And obviously, since you use the same golf ball or you use conforming golf balls on every single shot, you're going to expect a proportional decrease with each and every club in the bag. Now, maybe not necessarily with your wedge, but that's also subject to spin and other performance situations. So if you're hitting a 7-iron, 150, 10% of that would be 15 yards, 5% of that would be 7.5 yards. So instead of hitting it 150, you're going to now hit it 142.5. And you're still going to get flyers. You'll still have situations where it's going to go farther than you think. But generally speaking, you're going to see about a 5% decrease across the board. So this is a decision that was made instead of having this testing standard apply as a model local rule specifically for professionals and high-level amateurs. This is now going to apply to everybody, as I mentioned, with that kind of staggered rollout. And the reason the USGA and the R&A is choosing to do it this way is because of the feedback that they received from within the industry. Professionals didn't want to play a different game. They didn't like the idea of bifurcation, even though really, and bifurcation means playing a different set of rules. They already really play a different set of equipment standards than we do because they have access to different equipment than we'll ever be able to afford or have. However, they didn't want to have have a different standard for their equipment compared to everybody else. The equipment industry doesn't like that in particular because they've long marketed to us based on what professionals do. And if we don't play the same equipment, and a lot of us do play the same equipment. A lot of people play the same Pro V1 or TP5X or Chrome Soft or Tour B or Z-Star or whatever that the pros play. But if they played a different ball and we knew it, then it would be kind of difficult to make that marketing arrangement. And also, these groups the manufacturers didn't want to have to make golf balls that were specific for professional and high-level competitions because they would feel that would be an R&D expense. It would cost them a lot of money with basically no hope for return because what person in our world playing recreational golf would want to play the same ball the pros play if it went 10, 15% shorter. So instead of doing that, the governing bodies got together and said, okay, well, we can't do nothing, and we have heard you loud and clear. You don't want bifurcation. You don't want two sets of standards. So we're going to do it for everybody. And they're going to stagger it just like they did with the grooves regulations on wedges. That was a very long implementation, although then that was thought out very quickly and gamed properly by the equipment manufacturers to basically get all the spin back by a different manufacturing method on the wedge faces. And you probably are wondering, well, what does this necessarily mean in the long haul for professional golf? Won't golfers just swing faster? And yeah, they will. They're going to swing faster. That is eventually what's going to happen. It's already happening. It's been happening. It's been happening for 20 years. And it's been happening at a very efficient level. I mean, the reality is you have to hit the ball probably close to 300 yards off the tee on the PGA Tour to be particularly competitive these days. It's really hard when you don't hit at 300 on average. That wasn't the case 20 years ago. So the game has evolved. It will continue to evolve. There are players now who are coming through the junior ranks who swing the golf club 120, 125 miles per hour with driver, and eventually they're going to get to 130. We're producing more athletes. We're learning how to swing more efficiently. So this isn't going to necessarily roll back everybody forever, but it probably will impact most people because you and I, we don't have the time to go figure out how to swing 5 or 10 miles per hour faster with the driver. It's hard to do, it takes training, and it's not our job. So it will impact us to some degree. However, the good news is we can always move up a box. And most of us probably don't play from the right tee box as it is. And we have that option. So the good news is if you go, hey, I'm hitting it 5% less on each and every shot, maybe I'll just move up a box and have the same amount of fun. Or you take on the extra challenge. You go, okay, well, it's an extra 7 yards per shot. With my 7-iron, I'll live with it. I can make that happen. But all of this stuff is set to be announced next week, and I'm sure there'll be some more particulars that come out about it. But until then, I wanted to give you the gist of what this all meant and what it's going to mean for you and how long it's going to take until it means something for you. I'm Ryan Ballinger with Golf News Net. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.